Good afternoon and welcome to this special commission business meeting of the Public Service Commission of South Carolina. It is Monday, July 24th at 2 p.m. Let's take a roll call of commissioners. With us virtually, we have Commissioner Irvin. With us telephonically, Commissioner Irvin and Commissioner Carol Lee Williams. With us telephonically, we have Commissioner Thomas, and present in the hearing room, we have Commissioner Justin Williams, Commissioner Caston, and Chair Belser. I note for the record that Vice Chair Powers is on sick leave. Before we begin with our agenda today, I invite you to join me for a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Powers.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, Commissioners. First, I would like to remind Commissioners that our next regularly scheduled Commission business meeting will be held on Thursday, July 27th, 2023 at 2 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Powers. And as noted, this is a special Commission business meeting. I believe we have one agenda item. Is that correct?
That's correct. Today we have one item on the agenda. Item number 1 is in docket number 2023 1E regarding Commission consideration of the final disposition of the annual review of base rates for fuel costs for Duke Energy Progress, LLC.
Thank you, Mr. Powers. At this time, I'm going to ask that Commissioner Justin Williams accept the gavel and chair the remainder of the meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will accept the gavel. Fellow commissioners, you heard the matter before the commission for consideration today. I ask you if you have a motion.
Mr. Acting Chair, I have a motion I'd like to make.
Madam Chair, you have the floor.
Thank you. I move the commission adopt the stipulation executed by Duke Energy Progress, the Office of Regulatory Staff, Nucor Steel, South Carolina, Southern Alliance for Clean Energy, and the South Carolina Coastal Conservation League. The Office of Regulatory Staff is still conducting an inspection and examination of outages and rolling blackouts during the December 2022 Winter Storm Elliott and plans to provide a report to the Commission detailing its findings, conclusions, and recommendations resulting from the inspection and examination. The stipulation provides that the stipulating parties have the right to object to or defend the prudency of purchase power cost incurred during Winter Storm Elliott in the next rate proceeding, whether a fuel proceeding or a base rate case, and the Commission may approve or disapprove in such a rate proceeding adjustments related to those purchase power costs. In presenting information related to Winter Storm Elliott in the next proceeding, I move that Duke Energy Progress shall address all activities conducted in preparation for the upcoming winter season, such as, but not limited to, winterization of facilities. When Winter Storm Elliott was identified as an approaching winter storm, the company activities conducted in preparation of the storm, all purchased power transactions related to Winter Storm Elliott to include reasons for the purchase, cost of the purchase, amount of power purchased. In other words, full details concerning each power purchase that occurred as a result of outages, derating, or other plant issues resulting from Winter Storm Elliott, and an estimate of power purchase costs the companies would have incurred if generation had occurred under the economic dispatch model. I also move that the Commission find as follows. Subject to the provisions of the stipulation of the parties in this docket, which relate to purchase power costs associated with Winter Storm Elliott, that the fuel purchasing practices and policies, power plant operations, fuel inventory management, and other matters associated with South Carolina Code Annotated Section 5827-865 relating to the annual review of base rates for fuel costs for Duke Energy Progress are reasonable for the review period March 1, 2022 through February 28, 2023. The methodologies used by the company to calculate its avoided energy and capacity costs under PURPA for the review period and the billing period are reasonable and prudent. the methodologies used by the company for determining the environmental cost component and the capacity-related cost component of the fuel factor are reasonable and prudent for the review period and the billing period. The company's calculation and method of accounting for the avoided and incremental costs for a distributed energy resource during the review period were reasonable, prudent, and consistent with the methodology approved in Commission Order Number 2015-194 as updated by Commission Order Number 2021-569 and complies with South Carolina Code Annotated Section 58-40-10 et sec. The 2023 component values for NEM Distributed Energy Resource comply with the NEM methodology approved by the Commission in Order Number 2015-194 as updated by Commission Order Number 2021-569 and satisfy the requirements of South Carolina Code Annotated Section 58-48-10 et sec. For service beginning August 1st, 2023, DEP or Duke Energy Progress shall set its base fuel factor, not including the applicable environmental cost component, capacity-related cost component, and DERP avoided cost component at 2.955 cents per kilowatt hour for the residential class and 2.935 cents per kilowatt hour for the general service non-demand, general service demand, and lighting classes, excluding gross receipts, taxes, and regulatory fees. Duke Energy Progress shall set its environmental cost component billing factor at 0.042 cents per kilowatt hour for the residential class, 0.028 cents per kilowatt hour for the general service non-demand classes, 0 cents per kilowatt hour for the lighting class, and 7 cents per kilowatt for the general service demand class, excluding gross receipts, taxes, and regulatory fees. Duke Energy Progress shall set its capacity-related component at 0.922 cents per kilowatt hour for the residential class, 0.671 cents per kilowatt hour for the general service non-demand class, 0 cents per kilowatt hour for the lighting class, and $1.62 per kilowatt for the general service demand class, excluding gross receipts, taxes, and regulatory fees. Duke Energy Progress shall set its DERP avoided cost component at 0.003 cents per kilowatt hour for the residential class, 0.002 cents per kilowatt hour for the general service non-demand class, 0 cents per kilowatt hour for the lighting class, and 1 cent per kilowatt for the general service demand class. Duke Energy Progress shall set its DERP charge at $1 per month for the residential class, $2.84 per month for the commercial class, and $100 per month for the industrial class, including gross receipts, taxes, and regulatory fees for service rendered August 1st, 2023 through July 31, 2024. Duke Energy Progress's total fuel cost factor shall be set at 3.922 cents per kilowatt hour for the residential service, 3.636 cents. Let me say that again. 3.636 cents per kilowatt hour for general service non-demand, 2.935 cents per kilowatt hour for general service demand, and 2.935 cents per kilowatt hour for lighting. And Duke Energy Progress's total demand fuel cost factor shall be set at $1.70 per kilowatt. As required by the fuel statute, I move that Duke Energy Progress shall provide notice to its customers of the increase in fuel costs and explain the nature of the fuel costs. This same notice shall provide information on resources to customers in need of assistance. Mr. Acting Chair, that is my motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Fellow commissioners, you've heard the chair's motion. Is there any discussion?
Commissioner Justin Williams. This is Commissioner Thomas.
Commissioner Thomas, you have the floor, sir.
I would like to pose a friendly amendment. So my friendly amendment would be, I move that the company provide answers to the questions within 90 days.
Madam Chair, hearing Commissioner Thomas's friendly amendment, are you willing to accept said amendment to your motion?
Mr. Chair and Commissioner Thomas, I certainly understand your wanting the responses. I know that, and I respectfully decline to accept a friendly amendment. And part of my reasoning is that I know that the Office of Regulatory Staff's investigation is ongoing. We thought we would have results by the end of July. We have since been advised that it will be toward the end of August. I don't know what else could impact the Office of Regulatory Staff's investigation, and so I don't accept a friendly amendment, respectfully. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I appreciate your motion very much. I just believe that we need the answers sooner than later, and as you pointed out, we don't know what the findings may be of ORS's examination, but these questions, I believe, are important, and I just believe that we need those sooner. That's the reason for my friendly amendment.
You can certainly make the amendment. I mean, a motion to amend with that regard.
Well, that is what I'm doing. I'm moving to amend.
All right, fellow commissioners, Chair Belzer has respectfully declined to amend her motion. Now, Commissioner Thomas has moved to amend the motion. My understanding of Commissioner Thomas's amendment is that he wants the questions presented in the chair's motion to be answered by the utility within 90 days. And I believe that's the only amendment that he's asking to be made to the chair's motion. Is that correct, Commissioner Thomas?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
All right. With that amendment being made, the motion for that amendment being made, is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Thomas, you have the floor, sir.
This is Commissioner Irvin. I have a question for Commissioner Thomas. There were some additional information that Commission needs to assist the Commission in making our final determination. And would you consider a friendly amendment that requires, and I quote, the following: the company's current fuel cost factor shall remain in place until additional information is received by the company. Specifically, the Commission requests the cost of the power that was purchased or any other related fuel costs that were increased as a result of the rolling blackouts and outages that occurred in Duke Energy Progress service area of South Carolina as a result of Winter Storm Elliot's impact. 2, what costs would have been incurred for DEP in South Carolina during Winter Storm Elliott if the generation had occurred in the economic dispatch model? 3, why was DEP's Robinson nuclear unit taken offline for refueling during the winter months of 2022, when nuclear refueling has historically been scheduled by the utility during the spring or summer months to avoid it being offline during the winter peaking months? those are questions that I want to be sure that we get answers to, so that we will essentially leave the docket open. All parties will have an opportunity to respond to the information provided by the company. And I would respectfully request that you allow my friendly amendment. It further provides that the commission staff can set a procedural schedule and a supplemental hearing if necessary to address these outstanding matters. Would you allow that as a friendly amendment to your motion, please, sir?
I appreciate your comments, questions, and your friendly amendment. I just think at this point, I'm going to stick with the friendly amendment that I offered. And I believe that there is enough in the motion made by Chair Belzer that will get us going in the right direction. So while I appreciate your thoughts, comments, and your motion, I will be declining to add that as a friendly amendment to mine.
Just by way of further question, you've made a motion which would substitute for Chair Belzer's original motion. So all I'm asking is that you include these 3 questions so that we can get the pertinent information from the company so that we can have answers to those questions. Maybe you didn't understand. That's the reason I'm asking for this amendment. Would you consider it with the understanding that I'm trying to support your original motion? I just think those 3 questions need to be answered.
Well, at this time, I think we're asking for enough information. And so I appreciate that very much, but I will be declining at this time.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, I won't be able to support your motion.
All right.
Excuse me. All right, commissioners. We've heard Commissioner Thomas's motion for an amendment. Is there any more discussion?
I don't know that I have discussion, but I do want to make sure I understand exactly what it is I'm voting on. I've gotten a little confused in all this. So could we kind of, is it Chair Belzer's motion with a 90-day addition?
We have to vote on the amendment first. And the amendment is to require responses to the questions within 90 days. Is that not correct, Mr.
Okay.
Acting Chair?
Yes, ma'am. That is correct.
I got it. That clears it up. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Williams?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Williams, you have the floor.
Thank you. Chair Belzer, this may be related, but I note in your motion, I believe that you say that the information, as the motion's currently stated.
We are on the amendment now, not.
I understand. The introduction to the additional information, I believe you said in the next proceeding. And I'm thinking about the relationship of the next proceeding to the 90-day request. Is the next proceeding something that could be determined that we have not identified at this point? I think that question is for Chair Belzer.
May I respond?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
We're getting a little out of order because the discussion really needs to be on the amendment at this point. But my motion, in part, is to adopt the stipulation. And under the stipulation, the next proceeding would either be the next fuel case or the next rate case, whichever occurs first.
That helps me to understand my vote. Thank you.
All right, commissioners, I would just offer this for discussion. Now, we all understand that the chair's motion was to adopt the stipulation. Hearing Commissioner Thomas's amendment, at least initially, I do not think that disturbs the stipulation. I don't think responding to questions within 90 days disturbs or undermines the stipulation. I think what's also true is that the parties did not mention that they would answer the questions before the next proceeding, whether that's a rate case or a fuel case. So they may have a different interpretation, but I don't think responding to those questions in and of just alone, responding to the questions alone and having those answers available to the commission undermines or disturbs the stipulation. But I'm interested if anyone has a different opinion on that. I'll be interested in hearing it if they do. All right. Hearing nothing, if there's no more discussion, we will vote on the matter, the amendment, that is, answering the questions in the chair's motion within 90 days, starting with Commissioner Thomas.
Aye.
Commissioner Carol Lee Williams.
Aye.
Chair Belzer.
No.
Vice Chair Powers.
Commissioner Powers is on sick leave.
I'm sorry about that. Commissioner Caston.
Aye.
Commissioner Irvin.
No.
And I vote aye. Did I get everyone?
I think so.
Okay. So, let's see. I voted aye. Commissioner Williams voted aye. Commissioner Caston. All right, and Commissioner Thomas voted aye as well. It looks as if the ayes have it, and the motion is amended to answer the questions within 90 days. All right, now that amendment has passed, the original motion is up for a vote. Is there any discussion about the original motion?
As amended.
As amended, the motion as amended, Any questions about the motion as amended?
Which motion are we talking about? The one we just adopted?
The amendment, Commissioner, the motion as amended, Commissioner Irvin. So it would be the chair's original motion amended to answer the questions presented in the motion within 90 days.
Isn't her original motion now moot in light of the fact that we've adopted a substitute motion? That's my point of order.
I think if I understand what Commissioner Thomas offered for our consideration and vote, Commissioner Irvin, I believe he only offered to add a 90-day time limit or deadline to answer the questions provided in Commissioner Belzer's motion, not to adopt the entire motion. But if I'm incorrect in that, I stand to be corrected. But I think that's what we voted on.
That is my understanding also.
Okay. And I'm going to look to our general counsel is giving me the thumbs up, which generally is a sign of we're moving in the right direction. So with that being said, what we have before us now is the amended motion, which is the motion the chair read, amended to include a 90-day deadline to answer for the utility to answer the questions listed in the chair's motion. Any discussion? All right. Commissioner Williams, it seems as if you may have a question. That's a no? Okay. No question. Then we will start from the top with Commissioner Williams.
Aye.
All right. Chair Belzer.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Caston.
Aye.
Commissioner Urban,
Aye.
Commissioner Thomas,
Aye.
and I vote aye as well. The ayes have it. The motion carries as amended. Madam Chair, I want to pass the gavel back to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Mr. Powers, that's all the business we have to come before the commission this afternoon.
That is all, Madam Chair.
Okay, as we have exhausted the agenda, we will adjourn this proceeding, and I remind everyone that our next regularly scheduled business meeting will be this coming Thursday, July 27th at 2 p.m. We are adjourned. Thank you.